All we were used to was storing measurements in jotters. In fact, one of the identifying factors for a tailor is when you look at their notebooks, it's always torn, tattered, and all that. So I always felt there could be more, so I couldn't go to school at some point.
Probably had a different vision for yourself.
And that was how the entire journey started. It was something that chose me. I didn't actually choose it. It took me more than 10 years.
Wow.
This is Andrew Ogbeh, and he's building a solution that has been overlooked for decades. A solution to help tailors sew smarter, work faster, and grow bigger.
Hi, my name is Andrew Ogbeh. I'm the founder of SewPro. SewPro is an AI-powered solution for fashion businesses and tailors across Nigeria and Africa.
One capacity. Name is Maya one. She's all focused.
What does she do? So honestly, it's such a pleasure to be here because we met last year at an event. Since then, I have been impressed by what you're doing because we had a little conversation about what you do, and I found that the idea for SewPro has been long overdue. I've lived in the world of fashion, and I see the struggles of fashion designers, tailors, the issues that happen between customers and tailors, and I see how much more efficient SewPro can actually make tailors be. So I want you to kind of run us through how did this start, your background, where did this idea come from, and why did you choose to
put this in proper context? I'm actually a fashion designer.
Oh,
right. So that fashion designer that have sat on the sewing machine for more than 20 years. So I started sewing in 2006. That is about 20 years now, 2 decades. Yeah. So, but tailoring was not something I really wanted to learn. It was something that chose me. I didn't actually choose it. It was as a result of my parents not being able to afford school for me, so I couldn't go to school at some point. So my mom decided that the smartest thing to do at that time was to get a skill, and tailoring was the most available. My elder brother is a fashion designer, even though that time we were mostly at loggerheads, so I really didn't want to learn anything from him. But my mom advised me to, which today I'm grateful that I took her advice.
did that?
Yeah. So, and that was how the entire journey started. It took me very few weeks to grasp everything within that space. I started making clothes, and fast forward, tailoring became like a lifeline for me. It became what funded my education. Right? So it became from secondary school down to university. So for me, tailoring gave me like a second chance. So all through my journey, you asked what inspired this. All through my journey, I discovered that I always felt there could be more fashion designers, right? That this industry could receive more attention and could be branded properly. Usually,
innovations.
Yeah, there are still things to be done. So while I went to school, I studied maths and computer science. So relating with computer science, codes, and every other thing started to give me the idea that something could be possible, a management system, because all we were used to was storing measurements in jotters, hardcover notes. And one of the identifying factors for a tailor is when you look at their notebooks, it's always torn, tattered, and all that. So that was the kind of life we're living. But we ended up with mix-up measurements. We ended up with misplaced measurements and all that. So I felt like there should be a solution for this. There should be a solution for this. But I still didn't get into building this. I had to get into the market to interact with several other tailors and hear what they suffer, what they want built. And it took me more than 10 years.
Wow.
To finally decide to build this. I first thought about this in 2013. So it took me more than 10 years to say, okay, let's do this. Since I've discovered that it's a challenge, a common challenge So, but over that period of 10 years, of course, I got to refine it over and over and over again. And what we are now is just our MVP. It's not even 1/10 of what we have in the pipeline. So that's how we got here. I was just like, I stumbled into fashion.
It's very impressive, and I find it really relatable. Reason is, I actually did something relating to this in fashion as well. I used to be a clothier. We make apparels, we make joggers, I used to have a business called Diesel Wears. So at least I am not a professional tailor. I wouldn't say I'm still in that, but at some point I have used the scissors and a table to cut out trousers and things like that. So I find it very relatable. And like I said before, I also came from a home where my mom, my sisters, they all did in fashion. So I have good experience with that aside from what I have also done. So I see the problem and I see your product market fit. It's like, it's amazing. And one thing again we have in common is I also studied computer science. So when you look at it, like computer scientists, you probably had a different vision for yourself when you were starting out, or like maybe by now you're probably a manager at a firm, or maybe a programmer, or whatever the case may be. But like we say, entrepreneurship actually finds us, right? Because at some point you just discover that I'm naturally good at this. So definitely I'm just going to do it. Except you're currently at like 10%. Yeah. So like what's next?
We plan to do. Okay, well, I wouldn't let everything out because but however, I would say that what we are building is we're building the digital infrastructure for the fashion ecosystem in Africa. That's what we're building. We're not just right now. What our solution only accommodates people in the industry, the core suppliers in the industry who are tailors, fashion designers, fashion business owners. So that is what our system accommodates right now. However, what we have in the future is that as long as even those who are users, right, you patronize, you are putting on a shirt, we want to see how we can include you in our ecosystem. In fact, we already have plans to include you in our ecosystem. But you see, first, why we started with this approach is that, you see, the demand side in the fashion ecosystem in Africa is not a problem. We use clothes every now and then, and I think even till we die,
it's one of the biggest industries.
One of the biggest industries. So the demand side is not a problem. In fact, with this, the present demand for Afro style across the world in Europe, right? We see more people demanding the kind of things we wear here. So that has even enlarged the market and increased the demand. So the demand is not a problem. So, but the supply side is not organized, it's not structured. So what we are trying to see is we want to harmonize this, bring everything together where demand meets supply and supply meets demand all in one place. So, but what we're doing right now is it's more like building the foundation, getting the core individuals, the people who play a critical role in the ecosystem, fashion designers, tailors. We're helping them structure their business properly before we scale to the next stage.
The next thing I really want to ask, now the MVP is out, or at least something that is good enough for the market, right? It's very functional, very usable. I have it on my phone. I have played with it. I've sent it to my family members that are also in the field. So the question is, how is the adoption like? And what do you think limits fashion designers or tailors from adopting this right now?
Okay, first, thank you for sharing what we do with those who are around you. I think one of the first things to note is that this particular industry is an underserved industry, right? People in this industry are not used to technology, right? They are not used to technology. In fact, one of these
touchlight phones,
and all that. See, we were actually amazed by the reception we got when we first opened up our wait list. It was more like these were a hungry crowd, a dying crowd, like we've been waiting for this, right? But now that's just the excitement phase. Now we have moved beyond that to the adoption phase, getting them to actually use the solution, the system. So I wouldn't say we have figured out everything yet, but right now I would say that we are not doing so badly, right? Every single day I get to call our users, people who have downloaded our app, right? support. I also play support with my team, right?
Wow.
So I get to call users, and one of the joy I get is that out of every 10 users I call, I get to hear one person who say, I'm already using it for my business and it's working perfectly. So that one person gives me the push to keep on going.
Wow.
So, but one of the things, the gap I've noticed with the other people is the gap of, because they are not used to technology, they don't know where to start onboarding. So that's what we are now working on heavily right now, right? So we are trying to upgrade all our onboarding system. We're trying to see how we can, all our onboarding touch points, we can cover everything to make it very basic as possible, seamless as possible. So I'll say that's one of the areas, one of the challenges we faced. So because of that, we are upgrading our UI.
Yeah.
Because people in this industry, you'll be amazed. Somebody tells you, I just downloaded the app, where do I press now? So because of that, we want to see how we can make everything
for even for an illiterate who wants to use the app, or a layman, you want to make the app very, very easy. Like they know where to
friendly,
click.
So we're trying to do that with our UI so that it tells you what to do at what point and all that. Yeah, and so we're also doing a lot of videos to see how we can help these users come.
So I want us to zoom out to the back end a bit. Like when you were developing the solution, how was it like? What was the process like? You know, you and your team and the ideation, just like a brief, just like get us into what was that process like for you to get to where you are now that you have a usable app.
Okay, first we started with a wait list.
Okay.
So we had not written one line of code before I said we're building this. So I told the team that we are going to build with our people from day one. So the first thing we built was a wait list, and that time we're not writing a one line of code for this app. So we just put it out there. If you want this, of course, before then, of course, there have been a lot of talking with actual customers and all that. So, but when we put out the wait list, we started getting people who were saying, yes, I love this, clicking and joining our wait list. And we had an overwhelming crowd, something we didn't plan for. In barely 90 days, we were over 9,000 people had joined our wait list.
Wow.
There was a day that more than 1,000 people joined I woke up to see over 1,000 people on our wait list.
Wow.
I thought it was a glitch somewhere. So it was a video we had done that had gone viral.
So how many users do you have like at the moment?
Right now we have 6,500 plus, around 6,800 across 5 countries.
Wow.
Yes, right now.
Can you mention the countries?
Okay, of course, Nigeria, which is around 60-something%. We have Ghana, we have Kenya, we have Uganda, we have the US, and I think we have Cameroon also. Yes.
Wow.
Those are the major countries.
Those are amazing milestones.
Yeah, so that's what happened back then before we started writing code with the people, put them in a Telegram.
Did you write any code yourself?
No, I did. I'm a non-technical founder.
So you have like...
I'm just a business developer.
Okay, so you have like them within your team. You have developers within your team.
Yeah, and we work remotely.
Oh.
We outsourced.
Okay.
I started out with a co-founder,
okay,
but we didn't eventually pull through with building this.
So the co-founder dynamics, what happened there?
Well, I think it's when both of you have divergent visions, and this other person feels like he should be doing this other thing instead with his life, and no bad blood. You also feel like you should be doing this. So I appreciate the fact that we got to understand it early enough before we actually got into the market.
The vision wasn't really aligned.
Yeah, this particular person wanted to build something else other than what we're building. So we now had to hire people from outside. Yes.
That's interesting. You know, when I take this back to my own experience with my own brand, Multiple, which we are just kind of like setting up right now.
By the way, I love what you're doing.
Thank you so
Your
much.
videos especially.
Thank you so much. I actually do look up to some of yours as well. So I'm trying to make sure that there's a little bit of thing that I struggled with a bit, and I think we should discuss that right now, is personal branding.
Okay.
And that is a little because of the fact that I am versatile in the sense that I do a lot of things, right? So in the past, I've done a similar business to yours. I've been in fashion where I was doing visual wears, the clothing and apparel business. And then I went on to having a tech startup where I was building websites. I still do this till today. I build websites for people and we build mobile apps too for people. Then I went on to advancing that into the printing business. So clay print is kind of like an adaptation of what visual wears was, because we still do t-shirts and branding. Just that now we take it to digital printing as well, journals and all those things that businesses use. And then now I am also back in the retail business. While I was in school, I had like a small mini mart that I was making some money from. So all these things are connected, but still somehow they're a little bit diverse. Picking a personal brand out of all of these similar but diverse things at the same time can be a little bit confusing, which is something that presently I'm struggling with. What is your take on personal branding and how do you go about this?
Okay, I think this is a common challenge for people like us who are, I think they call us multi-potentialites, right?
Multi-potentialites.
So I think it's a common struggle, knowing what to project at what point. And I wouldn't say that I have not had my fair share, right? I've had that, and that's because of the several other expressions I have. But how I've come to handle it is that first, I believe that God is not a waster of resources.
Yeah.
That if God has given me a particular gift, it's because it plays a critical role in the grand scheme of things. So I don't see any aspect of my life now and say, no, this thing, as long as I can do it. If I can do it and I can do it excellently, I go for it, right? I just now have to plan the execution, when to execute it, which is, I think, is the most important thing, when to execute it. So, but when it comes to building a personal brand, you know, sometimes people want to build personal brands around just their business. I think that's where the problem comes in. So, for a multi-potential, like, I think we should build a personal brand around your person, not necessarily around a particular niche or a business, right? I believe you should build your brand so that if tomorrow you pick probably selling gadgets, your personal brand sells it. It's just one of the businesses you now own or you run. And if you decide to do something else, because I know personally I'm going to do several other things, right? And I don't believe, I'm not of the school of thought that you should just be probably a speaker, a content creator without building an actual business. So because I want to build businesses, I can't just tie my entire personal worth
to that business,
one single business. So I try to still maintain my personal brand, right? And once it's just knowing when that business can survive on its own. I'll give you an example. If you met me between 2021 to 2024, you wouldn't call me a fashion designer.
You're doing something
totally different.
Okay.
I was playing in the space of digital currency. I still do digital currency, cryptocurrency and all that, right? Because I speak, right? I'm a coach, personal finance coach.
Yeah,
right?
So
I was using that as a vehicle, and we're traveling from state to state. I was holding trainings and all that. You wouldn't say that this person is it. However, at that time, I was still running a fashion business, but I wasn't.
It wasn't the highlight.
It wasn't the yes. So when I got to the point where I wanted to now build SewPro, that now had to take like a second role kind of. Then this came up with bait. But in all of these states, I'm focused on building my own personal brand. I'm focused on people liking me, people trusting me
as a person,
so that tomorrow if I decide that I want to sell this pen, you are willing to buy from me. So I think that's the we just need to get it right. Don't build your personal brand around the business, but around yourself, the value that you offer to communities, businesses, people, and all that. So,
to wrap this up, I would like you to share your opinion or maybe like a general advice to founders or maybe anybody that is entrepreneurial or even anybody in their 9-to-5 that maybe wants to do business or doesn't really want to do business but want to advance their lives in a certain way. Because at the end of the day, I believe we all have to be entrepreneurs. We all have to be able to solve problems. Because even in 9 to 5, people are already solving a certain problem. Just like that, they're solving those problems for other people. Everybody needs to solve a problem. So what can you say regarding that?
If you want to start something, I'll say do it. Do it anyway. If you want to do something, do it. Just do it. Do it afraid. Every one of us doing it, we're all doing it afraid.
Exactly.
We're not sure we're not 100% sure of the outcome,
Yeah.
but we're doing it either ways. And that's because, first, I want you to solve something that you are, one, deeply passionate about, so that even when things are rough, we can still have the fuel, the firepower to go for it. Then secondly, solve something that people actually need, the market needs, people will place demand for, right? Then I think basically, then thirdly is make sure you put some enthusiasm, right? That's one of the places some people get it wrong. No enthusiasm, no energy behind what you do, right? Appear always believing that you are worth the attention, that you're worth a market share,
right? And
show up strong. So that's what I would say.
You're a coach, right? So what advice would you have for me as I'm currently building multiple?
This is catching me.
You are also a coach. No. I'm just in online because I haven't actually stood in front of people and speak to them.
Okay.
So, and yeah, you can be online and you're talking to people. I've had people come up to me and say, oh, they're motivated and inspired by the things I do or the things I say. But I just go out there and say the things I feel like, right? But you have actually been in environments where you talk purposefully to people. So like you must definitely have a thing or two to say about how multiple can navigate itself.
Okay, I think I'll give you the advice that someone gave me.
Okay.
And this person said, Andrew, when you launch, talk to your customers. So pick up the phone, talk to your customers, call them, listen to them. Don't be sucked into your product. Like I've built this and built this. It's not about your product. It's about the customer's problem. So talk to them as often as possible and listen, and take action based on what they say. So that is what I would say. Don't be the founder that is just all about your product. Be a founder that is focused on solving the customer's problem.
So don't be attached to your idea. Understand that your ideas can evolve.
Yeah, that's right.
And when they do, it is totally fine.
Totally
as long as it is serving the people it is meant to serve. It doesn't have to serve your own idea or your passion or whatever.
That's right.
Aside from the fact that I really wanted to visit you here today, I am starting a new series on my YouTube, and it's called Also to Empire. Basically, I want to tell versatile stories about people like you and I who started from zero and are building from the ground up. And it's not about how far you've gone. It's not about what you've achieved. It's just about the grinding, how much you're trying, how hard you're trying to move from here to there.
That's
right. So that journey is really what I want to share and talk about in this series. So not only will I be visiting more people like you, it's a general idea that we can all build an empire. It's about the discipline, not about the money. It's about the impact, not about the money. It's been an interesting experience to listen to how you started, from how you also to make sewing, pay your school fees, and now today you sit in this beautiful office and your vision is way beyond this. Like for you to tell me what you have already is like 10%. I can't even imagine what 100% is. So you are a perfect definition of what I am trying to portray in this series, because I am also a perfect definition of that. I have been grinding all my life. I have done certain things amazingly well. I've performed well. I know I still have a lot of improvement to do. So I am not shy of learning in the process, which is why I'm open to you giving me an advice and telling me, oh, do this and do that about multiple. So it's been an amazing one, and thank you so much for sharing your story. Thanks to us.
Interesting session. I really had fun. It was really productive for me.
Talking to Mr. Andrew, I learned so much. I asked personal questions about my businesses, about my brand, and he gives me 1 or 2 things that I really learned from and I'll be using going forward in my business. So you'll be seeing more stories like this on this series, Hustle to Empire, and can't wait till I show you the next one. Thank you.